To his friend Gallus, you express surprise that my Laurentine or Laurentian, if you prefer, estate gives me so much pleasure, but you will no longer be surprised when you get to know the charm of the house and the convenience of the location and the expense of the show. It is tucked away 17 miles from the city, so that once the necessary tasks of the day are completed, one can stay here, leaving the business of the day unimpaired and well ordered. There is more than one route to it, for the roads both to Laurentum and to Ostia head in the same direction, but you must leave the Laurentine road at the 14th milestone and the Ostian road at the 11th. The road which takes you on from both is partly sandy, making it rather too heavy and long for a coach and pair, but short and soft on horseback. The view is varied at different points, for at one moment woodland confronts you, and the road narrows, and at the next it widens and extends through the broadest meadows. There are many flocks of sheep and many herds of horses and cattle there. When winter drives them down from the mountains, they grow sleek on the grass and warmth of spring. The house, too large enough for my needs, is not expensive to maintain. At the front of it there is an entrance hall which is modest without being dingy. Beyond it are colonnades shaped like the letter D, which wind round and which wind round and enclose a small but cheerful courtyard. The colonnades afford the best possible refuge against stormy weather, for they are protected by glass rams and much more by the overhanging roof. Facing the center of is a cheerful inner hall, and next to it is a quiet, handsome dining room which runs out onto the shore. Whenever the sea is buffeted by the southwest wind, the room is lightly lapped by the last spray of the span waves. It has folding doors or windows as big as the doors all around, and so from both sides, and the front and the front it looks out into the equivalent of three seas. To the rear, it looks back towards the inner hall, one colonnade, the courtyard, the other colonnade, and then the entrance hall, woods, and distant mountains. To the left of the dining room, a little further setback, there is a large room, and then a second and smaller one, which by one window lets in the rising sun, and by the other holds it captive as it sets. From this window to the room looks out at the sea lying below from a longer but safer distance. Interposed between this room and the dining room is enclosed a nook which halts and intensifies the heat of the wholly unclothed sun. This serves as both a winter retreat and a gymnasium for my staff, for all the winds subside there except those which bring in the rain-clouds and dispel the day's brightness, without depriving this area of its use. Adjoining this nook is a room which bends round like the arc of a cycle, and which, from all its windows, follows round the circuit of the sun. Into its wall is fitted a cupboard which acts as a sort of library containing books that are not to be merely read but repeatedly read. Next to this is a sleeping apartment with an intervening passage. The floor of the passage is raised on supports and fitted with pipes. When the steam heat is produced, it distributes it on both sides and provides it with a beneficial temperature. The remaining part of this side of the house is reserved for the uses of the slaves and the freedmen, though most of the rooms are so elegant that they can lodge guests. On the other side of the dining room there is a most elegant chamber, and adjacent to it one which can serve as a large private room or a small dining room, bright with abundance of sun and of glistening sea. Behind it lies another room with an antechamber. It hangs, it makes it suitable in summer and its protective walls in winter, for it is sheltered from all the winds. A further room with antechamber is joined to this by common wall. Next to this is the cooling room of the bed. It is large and spacious, and from facing walls project to beds carved in shape. They are big enough when you consider that the sea is at hand. The anointed, the anointing room by Hippocaust, the sweating room come next, followed by two reclining rooms, elegant rather than luxurious. Attached to them is our wonderful heated pool, from which chambers have a view of the sea. Nearby is the games court, which meets the full warmth of the sun when the day has now commenced its downward path. Here a tower rises, with two sets of apartments on the ground floor with two above. There is also a dining room which claims a view of the vast expanse of the sea, the vast extent of the soul, and its most attractive houses. There is also a second tower with a room in it which is visited by both the rising and the setting sun. Behind it are a wide wine cellar and a granary, and on the ground floor there is a dining room which experiences nothing from the sea when it is stormy except the noise of the breakers, and even that when it is wearied and exhausted. The tower looks out upon the garden and the drive which encircles it. The drive is lined with a hedge of box or by bushes of rosemary. When the box fails for where it is shielded by the buildings, the box flourishes by the wheels under the open sky when it is exposed to the wind and the sea spray, however far away. Close to the drive on its inner circuit is a gentle, shady path which is soft and yielding even to walk with. The garden is clothed in large numbers of mulberries and figs, for the soil is especially fertile with regard to these trees, but more hostile to all others. The dining room on this other side from the sea enjoys an outlook just fine as that over the sea. It is encircled in the rear by two suites of rooms, beneath the window of which lie the approach to the house and another sleek kitchen garden. At this point, a covered passageway extends. Almost like a public building, it has windows on both sides, more of them facing the sea, and fewer which alternate with them facing the garden. When the day is cloudless and still, all the windows lie open, but when there are troublesome winds on one side or the other, they are kept open harmlessly on the windless side. In front of the passageway is a strolling area scented with violets. The passageway itself accentuates the warmth of the sun that beats upon it by reflecting it. It both retains the sun and retains and keeps at bay the north wind, so that it is as cool behind as it is warm in front. It likewise acts as a brake on the southwest wind, and thus halts and breaks the force of these wholly divergent winds with one of its sides of the other. This is its charm in winter, but it is more charming still in summer, for with it cools the strolling area beyond midday, and after midday the nearest part of the drive and garden. As the day waxes and wanes, its shadow becomes shorter and then longer on one side or the other. The passageway itself gets absolutely no sunshine, and the sun at its verges beats down on its roof. In addition, it lets in and circulates the western breezes through the open windows, so that it is never stuffy with fetid and unshifting air. Over beyond the strolling area, the passageway and the garden is my favorite set of rooms. Truly my favorite, for I had it built myself. It contains a sunroom sunroom, which looks out on the strolling area on one side and on the sea on the other. It gets the sun on both. The bedroom, from its folding doors, looks on the passageway, and from its window on the sea. Passaging the wall which lies between these is an alcove, quite elegantly set behind the room, and by closing or opening the glass doors, the curtains, it can reduce or extend the size of the bedroom. It takes a bed and two armchairs. The sea lies beneath it, houses lie in its rear, and woods offer and beyond. It both separates and mingles all the vistas from as many windows. Attached to it is a chamber for sleeping at night. There nothing is heard of the voices of confidential slaves, or the gentle sound of the sea, or the lashings of storms, and nothing is seen of lightning flashes, or even of daylight, unless the windows are open. The reason for this dense and buried seclusion lies in the intervening passage from which separates the bedroom wall from that of the garden. Thus the empty space absorbs all the noise. A tiny hypocaust is set by the bedroom, and by means of a narrow window it expels the heat below, or confines it as the situation demands. Next to it is another bedroom with an antechamber extended to meet the sun. It catches it as soon as it rises, and though after midday the sun slants in, it is still retained. When I retire to this suite, I regard myself as being away even from my house, and I take great pleasure in it, especially at the Saturnalia, when through the rest of the house the roof resounds with uninhibited behavior in the festive shouts of the holidays. For then I do not impede the games of my household, and they do not interrupt my studies. The only thing missing from these amenities and delights is running water. But the house does have wells, or rather springs, for they rise close to the surface. Indeed, it is a remarkable feature of this soil that whenever you uncover the earth, a ready supply of water confronts you. It is pure, not even slightly affected by such close proximity to the sea. Logs in abundance are provided by the nearest woodland, and the colony of Ostia provides the other resources. Then, too, there is a village from which they are separated by a single dwelling, and this supplies all that a plain living man needs. In the village, there are three beds for hire, a considerable convenience if it happens that a sudden arrival or too short as a stay makes us decline to heat or bed at home. The soil is done with the roofs or houses, some in unbroken line and others spaced out, offering most pleasing variation. They present the appearance of as many cities, whether you view them from the sea or when walking on the shore itself. Sometimes a long spell of balmy weather makes the seashore soft, but more often it is hardened by the regular impact of the breakers. The sea, it is true, does not contain lots of expensive fish, but it does produce shoals and excellent prawns. Our state also provides supplies from inland, especially milk, for whenever the herd make for water and shade, they come in for the pastures and gather there. So now do you think I am justified in making this retreat my home and habitation and loving it? If you do not long for it, you are too much the city slicker. I pray that you will long for it, for then all these splendid endowments of my modest house may gain in addition the greatest recommendation from your company here. Farewell.